Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a book haul for you. I don't know what the date is today, so what I'm going to basically do is just start listing these as book haul number 1. Next video will be number 2, and so on and so on. So we're going to start with number 1 being this one. So I won't remember in the video that it's book number 2 or book haul number 3 or whatever. So book haul number 1, good to see you today. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books here for you guys to show you. I went into Barnes & Noble today. I don't really like to buy newer books that I haven't read or from an author that I don't know, mainly because books are so expensive now, dude. When I was a big Stephen King fan, when I first became a big Stephen King fan or just a big reader back in high school like 10 years ago, the thing that amazed me is I could go and get a copy of The Stand at Barnes & Noble for like $7. It's like a 1,500-page book, if not longer, depending on what copy you have. And now it's like you have to pay like $20 for a copy of that book for all tall paperbacks, which I don't like to begin with. Either give me a hardcover if I want a tall book, or give me a mass market paperback, which is smaller. I like that. Saves a little bit of room. But even so, I found some books today. I don't know if you guys know this. I've talked about this a little bit on my channel, but Barnes & Noble and Books A Million have recently started developing actual horror sections in the stores. You don't have to go to the fiction section to find Stephen King. You will literally have a horror section. You can find him, Dean Koontz, Robert McCammon, Richard Lehman if he's got it. If it's in there, it's there. That's where I found the one at Books A Million. The one book that I found of Richard Lehman, which was surprising to me. Anybody you could think of, Jonathan Mayberry, Brian Keene, if they're going to have it, it's going to be in that horror section. H.P. Lovecraft is in there, Clive Barker, all kinds of folks. I was very surprised about the stuff I've been finding in that section. These 7 books here were things that I have looked forward to with some of them, and I've kind of put off more and more, and then I was like, I haven't bought anything in a while. I'll just go ahead and do a big haul. I had a birthday recently, so I had some money floating around. I thought, I wanted to buy something nice, so I spent about $100 on these books together in total. Maybe a little bit more, something like that. I don't know. I don't really care. But I wanted to enjoy these a little bit. This is something I'm excited to own right here. I didn't even know this was coming out. I saw the film. I loved it. It wasn't perfect by any means. Don't get me wrong. I liked it a lot. I loved it. But it wasn't a perfect movie. That would be the novelization to Halloween Kills by Tim Wagner. Yes, I have not read the 2018 novelization, but I do have it on my shelf. Nobody ever talked about that one coming out, but I didn't know this was coming out until like a week before the movie came out. Had not seen a copy anywhere. I assumed it would be in like Walmart and Target and stuff. No, this is the first copy I've seen, and it was in Barnes & Noble. It was the only copy they had, surprisingly. I don't know why that would have sold out, but I guess a lot of folks like myself are learning our lessons and seeing how much the original 78 adaptation, the one I just reviewed a little bit ago, are going for now. It's like $200 to get a copy of that thing on average now, and I'm not paying that for that. So instead I spent like $10 on this. This adaptation, or novelization I mean, is literally the film put as a novel, in case you don't know what that is. It's about 300 pages long, so I'm assuming there's pretty much no extra detail in here whatsoever, but I could be wrong. I'm kind of curious, the little things that happen towards the end of that movie, what could be explained in here? There are certain things I'd love to get into more, like Tommy Doyle's character. I don't want to tell you too much about Halloween Kills. If you're watching this video, you've probably already seen the flick. You're probably a fan of this kind of series or this franchise. I don't need to tell you much, but what I do want to leave you with is that the film is not perfect, but I do really, really dig it. I dig what it has to say about mob mentality. It's a good flick. I think it has a lot to offer, some great gore. I hope the gore descriptions are good in here. I haven't checked out any of it, but I will hope to eventually review this and the 2018 novelization and Halloween 3 and 4, which I also own the novelizations of, at some point. I can't promise it'll be anytime soon, but I hope it is one day. Anyway, that's Halloween Kills, the Michael Myers film. And it's weird that I found that today when I reviewed Halloween, the old novelization from Curtis Richards today. The next book I found, this is actually the last one I picked up. I don't know if this is a creepypasta collection or what, I don't know, but it's one author, it's Darcy Coates. I've heard that name somewhere, I don't know where I heard it from, but I got into Barnes & Noble, I picked up a bunch of books, paid for them, I went out to the middle of the mall and just kind of sat down and took a break for like 10 or 15 minutes, and I wanted to read something, so I picked up this book and I read some of it. The book itself is called Small Horrors. And it says on the front, which by the way, the cover's okay. The cover texture is very weird. This book is heavy compared to like any mass market paperback that I've ever owned in my life. I read like 3 stories, and they were okay. All of them were just okay. It's about as decent as they get. It's about 20 pages of it. And the book is about 360 pages long, but it says there's a collection of 50 creepy stories in here, so they're pretty short stories, which is what I dig a lot of the time. I want a good punch in the gut. This is the kind of thing that I wrote. This is more of an adult thing, but I wrote a little bit of these when I was trying to get a book published a while back for mainly just, you know, kind of like a scary stories to tell in the dark type of thing, but again, more of that urban legend retelling by a campfire type of setting. That's what I was doing. This is kind of just a straight up, very short story, and I like that. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a flash fiction type of thing. But 50 of them. I've never heard of this author as much as I know. I swear I know the name from somewhere. Somebody's mentioned this name to me, either on the internet or in a video somewhere. I know the name from somewhere. But even so, I'm glad I picked this up. Those first 3 stories were fine. You know, I dug them. Pretty cool. Anyway, moving along. I'm curious what kind of horror will be in that. A lot of the 3 that I read seemed like they were more of a... There was one that was a monster story that was pretty great. I would say it's the best one out of the 3 that I read. And the other 2 were kind of like a thriller type of thing. One guy finds a dog that he accidentally runs over. This book right here, I'm so stoked. I've seen it listed online and stuff. I've never seen it inside of a Barnes & Noble. But when I saw this today, I felt like the last 10 years of my life from when I was in high school and right after high school, and you have that weird foggy area after you graduate high school and you're not in college if you were like me. And you're just kind of working, you think back of those old days. I used to be a pretty big creepypasta fan. I don't read much of it anymore. I do want to read some more sometime soon, maybe even start a channel up where I do a little work with that. But I'm a little lazy. If I had my own editor, I would do that no problem whatsoever. But this book right here, I listened to Mr. Creepypasta here on YouTube read this, well, a bunch of these short stories back in the day. And it's by Dathan, or Dathan, I don't know how to say the name, Auerbach or Averbeck. I'm not really sure how to pronounce the last name, or Auerbach. I'm sorry, dude. I don't know how to pronounce your name. But anyway, it's Pen Pal. It says it's a novel, and Pen Pal, from what I remember, was phenomenal. It was just a phenomenal short story collection. It's kind of a novel, but kind of not from what I remember. I think that Mr. Creepypasta did like 6 chapters or something like that. Like he read them and narrated them, and they had the sound effects and the music and everything else from Mayuji. I remember loving that. I remember literally just hanging around the house back when my grandmother was still alive back in those days, which also brings a little fondness too to that memory of that, because it's basically the stories that I remember Mr. Creepypasta reading were essentially 2 best friends on a kind of small Mark Twain-like adventure in a lot of ways. Almost like a Huckleberry Finn type of thing. Not like Deep South 20s or anything like that, but but just kind of 2 friends stuck in some scary situations. I remember one about being up underneath a house, like in the crawl space. That really got to me. I remember some great scary moments from this book being read to me from Mr. Creepypasta, and I'm so glad for Dathan, or Dathan, however you say his name. If you want an experience based off of what I just generally just slightly remember about this book, I'm telling you, it's a great one. If it's exactly what I'm thinking it is, I'm pretty sure it is, because I looked up something about this a while back when I heard that he had published this, and a lot of creepypasta writers like Vincent V. Cava, I think is his name, Vincent V. Cava. He also published some books of stuff that he had published for the creepypasta community on No Sleep on Reddit. Anyway, I had even thought about trying to put out some stories on there at some point for myself, not for any kind of success, but just to see what people think, if I'm decent at what I do or whatever. Anyway, it's about 240 pages long. I cannot wait to delve into this. This might have to be one of my Christmas reads if I get some time carved out for it. I want to start catching up on some Goosebumps reads, because I haven't really been faithful over that here lately. Now everything's kind of calmed down a little bit more. Finished up my Christmas shopping almost. I'm pretty close as of today. Is what I did a lot of today with the day off from work and everything. But I've got a few more days being off, so I really kind of want to delve into some reading and whatever and really take that in and enjoy it. But I do want to do some Goosebumps stuff for the Goosebumps channel. Michael Goosebumps fan, in case you want to check that out. But yeah, if this is exactly what I remember it being, dude, this was a great book. So I'm really hoping that it's as good as I remember it being. Well, at least the portions that I know. I'm assuming this whole book was not read to me by Mr. Creepypasta, but I remember the stories being pretty lengthy, like 45 minutes a piece or something, which sometimes it could be like a 20-page story, not even that. So I'm assuming most of this book I haven't experienced yet, and it says a novel, so I don't know what's up with that, but I really can't wait to look into this book and read it. It's one of those books like My Best Friend's Exorcism that I'm really stoked for, as well as some of the other books here that I've heard about and I just have not gotten to ever in my life. But I've got a lot of stuff floating around that I really can't wait to get to at some point. But anyway, that's Pen Pal. Please check it out if you haven't seen it or read it or whatever. Go on Mr. Creepypasta's YouTube channel and check out Pen Pal. There should be chapters listed on there. I'm telling you, dude, they were pretty impactful from what I remember. Anyway, this book right here is odd enough. I was just thinking about this like yesterday. I was like, I haven't seen a copy of that in a bookstore like ever, and I don't know if it's going to end up in the horror section at some point. It's one of the reasons I kind of went out today shopping around and stuff for Christmas and then for my little haul here. This one I have heard very much about. I have seen the film, and I do really, really, really love the movie. The movie's great. It's a 400-page book that I've heard is very tedious because of the detailing, but for a good reason. It is Bret Easton Ellis' American Psycho. I'm very curious to see what this is going to be like. I hope it's a good book. I really, really do. I have a feeling I'm going to dig this too. I've heard it's fantastic. Again, the movie I could just watch over and over again. It's so good. It's not really your typical horror film or typical slasher movie. So I'm assuming the book's going to be just like that. It's one of those books like Fight Club, that the movie is so well known, the book is not talked about as much, but when people read it or talk about the book, people love it, even more than the movie. It enhances it almost. It improves it even. I've heard that about American Psycho as well from Bret Easton Ellis. So I hope it's a good one. If you don't know what this is about, you should watch the Christian Bale flick, but you should also check out this book. I'm sure it's going to be a good one. Yeah, it's pretty much a guy that's just a sociopath, just obsessed with his looks, and he's kind of all about himself, really. Christian Bale played that role so well, dude. All right, the next book I got right here, I almost fainted when I saw this in a Barnes & Noble because I never see Jonathan Mayberry books in Barnes & Noble ever at all. I want a hardcover copy of this just because I'm a big Mayberry collector. I collect him, I collect Richard Lehman, Stephen King, Brian Keene, R.L. Stine, all these people, and I really want a hardcover of this, but I was glad to find a paperback copy of it. This is Jonathan Mayberry's Ink. Now, of course, this is kind of a spin-off from a recent book that he did. I cannot remember what it's called. I think it's Glance. I believe. Glance? I didn't review it yet on the channel, but I did read that a while back, way before I started this channel, like a few years ago, a couple of years ago, something like that. But Glance was good, or At a Glance, whatever the book was called. It was really good. Really, really enjoyable. It was good seeing Mayberry go back to his horror roots. There was a character in there that I'm pretty sure is the main character in this book. He's like a private detective, private eye, whatever, PI. And he has a very interesting ability. I don't know anything about the book, but I typically nowadays take Travis McBee's advice here on YouTube, even though he doesn't make videos anymore, but I take his advice, and I really don't read blurbs from books that I really am looking forward to, from authors that I look forward to all the time. So I don't really know anything about this. I don't want to spoil it for you or tell you anything about it, but I remember Glance, or whatever it was called. It was such a good book. Oh yeah, you know what? This is Mayberry. I could probably just find it in the front and tell you what that book was called. Glimpse. That's what it was. Glimpse, not Glance. Glimpse. I got it right. It was one letter. This book is going to be a good one, I have a feeling. I have a really good feeling about it. Let's see. Trying to find the page number on it, because it just kind of got to a section where it didn't have any page numbers. Are there no page numbers in here? There's no page numbers in this. Oh, yeah, there is. It's very, very, very tiny. All right, let me try that again. It's about 440 pages long, about 450 actually. Anyway, so that's Ink. I hope it's a good one that you'll like if you check it out. Mayberry is such a classic, dude. I love when he does something that's not Joe Ledger. Joe Ledger's okay. It has some good books in there. It has some great books, as a matter of fact, but there are some bad ones in there too. It's kind of a techno thriller type of thing. I'm not really about that. I like horror stuff. Joe Ledger series has some horror stuff in there, but I try to read them chronologically too. I haven't read any of the new ones for like the last 5 years or 6 years. There's like 2 a year that get released. But Ink is one that I'm looking really forward to. I hope it's a good one, man. Yeah. So moving along, I found this as well. It's odd enough, I just heard about this book in like a podcast I was listening to yesterday. I don't listen to many podcasts, but I know I heard this somewhere. I don't remember who it was. It wasn't Bare Bones, which is Alex from Skeleton Crew Show doing his new YouTube videos. It wasn't anything like that. It was... there was somebody I listened to that talked about Stephen King's fear of flying back in the day, and that he overcame that, but he also wrote a short story that was involved in a book called Flight or Fright. And this is a short story collection involving planes and travel, I guess, by air or international or whatever. It's going to be something like that. Edited by Stephen King and Bev Vincent, which means Bev Vincent probably did all the work. Just messing with you. 17 Turbulent Tales. Let's see, who are all the authors in this book here? Stephen King did the introduction, as a matter of fact, from what I could tell. This is a list of pilots. Okay, here we go. E. Michael Lewis, Arthur Conan Doyle, Okay, so this may not just be living authors. Richard Matheson, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. That's a really good one. Ambrose Bierce, E.C. Tubb, Tom Bissell, Dan Simmons. I know him. That's that fellow that wrote the Da Vinci Code, right? Cody Goodfellow, John Varley, Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. He put a story in here called You Are Released. I don't know if it's an old story that he just included here or what. David J. Scow, Ray Bradbury, The Flying Machine. Bev Vincent, Zombies on a Plane, Roald Dahl. I can't say that name, I'm from the South. But Roald Dahl has a story in here called They Shall Not Grow Old. Peter Tremaine, Stephen King, The Turbulence Expert. I can't read today, dude. Stephen King's story is called The Turbulence Expert. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I've ever read that one. I don't think I have. I remember Popsy was like a plane story, kind of. That's all I remember. And the book ends with James L. Dickey with a story called Falling, and Bev Vincent has an afterword after that. But that's pretty much this book. I don't know. I can't remember for the life of me who mentioned this book to me, but I hope it's good. I hope it's a good one. I buy anything with Stephen King in it because I like him. I respect him. It is what it is. Yeah, Flight or Fright. Pretty cool title, too. That's a pretty clever one. This one here, I have heard nonstop about. You can't get it in a Kindle paperback or a Kindle ebook. I tried to buy that at one point. I just couldn't get my hands on anything like that. Apparently it doesn't exist because of the physicality of this book and the oddballness to this book. I don't really know anything about it. It's one of those books that everybody on the entire internet that loves horror recommends this book constantly to me. You probably know already what it is. More recent book. I don't know when it came out. I'm assuming post 2015 or something. It is called House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielski? Danielet? I don't know. I don't even know what this book is. I have flipped through it every single time I've went to Barnes & Noble for the last year and a half, and I just cannot for the life of me figure out if I want it or not. And today I decided to get it. It's only $22, which I was pretty confident it was like $29 or $30 there for a while. I could be wrong. But I don't know what this is. I don't know anything about it. I know that there's like something about a manuscript, and I don't know. The inside of the book, of course, has a write-up, like weird cover thing on the inside. I did vaguely read somewhere that somebody said something about a guy finding a screenplay or something. Because I know certain parts of it, when I scroll through, have like what looks like the format of a newspaper article, and then one looks like a format on a certain page of like poetry, and then another format looks like it's screenplay writing. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, and I really hope it's good. The way people have recommended this to me so much. I mean, I'm really hoping it's a good one. People have said it's so experimental and so different. I don't know. I hope it's a good one. I hope I can recommend it because it's always in the horror section. There's always like 5 or 6 copies of this all the time. Sometimes that can be a good sign. Sometimes it can be a bad sign. I'm hoping this is a good sign because of how much this is constantly recommended to me. But that is pretty much the book haul for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you can let me know some spoiler-free comments down in the comments from you guys to find out what I should read next, or what you think, or what do you think of any of these reads, if you picked any of them up, if you liked them. I would love to hear all that down below, guys. Yeah, let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Do you recommend any of these? Do you think House of Leaves is a masterpiece like everybody keeps saying? Yeah, what do you think? I'd love to hear all that down below. Thank you for watching. God bless you guys today. Happy Thanksgiving. It's coming up soon. I hope I can get a couple of book reviews done on the other channel, but maybe I'll get 1 or 2 out this week. I don't know. I'm going to try to finish Brian Keene's The Rising, and I want to finish Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask as well, and review that here on the channel at some point this week. Maybe. I don't know. I can't promise it. I've got a little bit left of The Rising. About 300 pages, but I only have about 150 left. Anyway, what are your thoughts on all this stuff? Put it down below. Thank you for watching once again. And once again, thank you for, or not thank you, but happy Thanksgiving. God bless you. Goodbye.